And everybody that has responded to my question of who are your top 5 QBs in the NFC, put this guy at number 5. And that guy was Kyler Murray.
I am Rob Ellis. All right, well, let's keep the football theme going here, guys, as we roll into hour number 3 here. So, you're looking at the NFC conference, and we'll do the AFC tomorrow, which is absolutely stacked. But you look at the NFC, and you're trying to decipher who the top 5 quarterbacks are. I'll give you my order. You guys jump in. All right, I'll go first. This is a hard one. It's a toss-up because clearly one is the GOAT and one's won more championships than the other. But if I'm just talking about this year, what I think is going to happen, I'll go Rodgers, Brady, Stafford, Murray, Prescott. That's my 5. And it's a real toss-up between Rodgers and Brady. I just feel like maybe this will be the year that Brady looks like a human being, but who knows? But Rodgers, Brady, Stafford, Murray, Prescott. How about you guys? Who wants?
I'm totally different from you. I mean,
good.
Not totally different.
That's good.
But, I went Rodgers, Brady, Cousins, Stafford, and it's a toss-up between Winston and Murray.
Man, I can't go Cousins that high.
I can't go Cousins. Ooh.
Why that high?
He's been averaging like 5,000 yards a year.
His numbers are pretty crazy. I can't argue that. But in terms of just like money, like Stafford's been at least, since got away from the Lions.
I mean, but I believe if you put Stafford in the same position you put,
you think Cousins wins it last year?
Oh, there's no question. Cousins is actually a better quarterback. He's done more with less than Stafford has.
Barrett. I think he comes up small. Really tough spots
in
sometimes.
Big games. Yes.
So, but you guys are acting like Stafford won that game for him.
No.
Well, how about the game against
he did take him down the field now he threw some darts on that last game-winning drive. Now he was throwing the Cooper Cup, but he threw some darts. He threw some key passes and completed them.
Yeah, Cousins does that on a regular.
But what has Cousins done in the playoffs? What's his playoff record?
What has Cousins had to go? What has he had though? When he had a great defense? When he had a great defense, and he had a great offense, what did Cousins do? He made it to the playoffs.
He didn't get him anywhere. Did he win anything? Did he get anywhere? No.
Well, I mean,
Cousins runs up these gaudy regular season numbers, but comes up small in the big games.
But we're acting like it's more than just Cousins that wins games. It's more than just Stafford to win games. That defense won the game won the Super Bowl, the NFC Championship game. That defense, Aaron Donald willed them to win that game.
He did. Stafford made some throws in that Bucs game, Barrett, that were sick. That one over the shoulder to Cup.
No question about it.
Was a money type throw. I don't know if Cousins makes that throw, man.
He has one of the best receivers in Jeffrey. He does those throws all day with Jeffrey.
Wait, time out. Who has been Cousins throwing to for the last 2-3 years? You got one of the most dynamic receiving tandems in Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen.
Right.
Okay. So in big games, Cousins will throw a pick, overthrow. Cousins has not come up big in big game situations. He's paid like one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. The Vikings should get a rebate on their money.
No, because he's performed in that capacity.
What?
He's got a great agent. I'll give him that. He gets that guaranteed coin, man.
Oh, my goodness.
They pay him accordingly because his record, his numbers dictate you have to pay him like that. You put him with that Rams team, I can almost guarantee you that he wins the Super Bowl.
I can't say you're wrong. I can't sit here and say he wouldn't. All right. But I would just worry about him in a really big spot where you had to have it if you would I agree.
Monday night against the Eagles.
If you look at you're right. If you just look at his numbers, 33-7, you're like, whoa. And he's over 4,200 yards. He's completing 66%, and he's got 103 passer rating. Those are pretty sick numbers, right? They're all really good numbers. But as Derek pointed out, he does have Jefferson. I know Thielen was banged up last year a lot, but he has Jefferson. He has Thielen. He has a real damn good running back in Cook too.
Cook was hurt. half the time off.
He was. He only played 13 games, but he still rushed for over 1,100 yards. So
Right,
I'm just saying, like, I know where you're coming from. Like, I think the advantage Stafford has too is he's got an unbelievable schemer for him too in McVay.
And he also has a great offensive line. You know, Whitmore, one of the best left tackles you can have in the league. He has had a terrible offensive line in Minnesota.
I guess it comes down to, for me, not to make it a whole Cousins Stafford thing, but just for this debate. If I had one game to win, I'm probably leaning Stafford, man, over Cousins.
Well, if you put it that way, I'm leaning Stafford also, but I'm talking about body of work for the entire year. It's hard for me to bet against Cousins.
If you look at the throws that Stafford made on that game-winning drive, I don't think Cousins can make those throws, putting that ball in tight spots like that the way he did, the way Stafford did. And I was never a Stafford fan until he got to the Rams, you know, and they did a great job building around him. I don't think Stafford can make – I mean, I don't think Cousins makes those throws. I really don't.
All I'm going to say is this. It's the reason why your boy's doing the gritty all day. You know what I'm saying? He's doing the gritty all day. He's doing the gritty all day because Cousins is throwing the exact same passes to him. The exact same I'm telling you, man, if you said – I read, and it took me a while because I sat back and I watched 5 games. 5 games. When I don't know why I did it, but I sat down. I watched 5 games of Stafford, and then I watched 5 games with Cousins. And as I'm sitting down, I'm watching the games. I'm like, bro, if this guy had an offensive line, his offensive line sucks. Right. He is getting pressure every single play. He has a head coach that only wants to run the ball, but yet he's getting over 4,200 yards in passing. I mean, he's a lot better than what he's given credit for. I mean, his coach, his head coach sucks. Zimmer sucked when it comes to the offensive side of the ball, but yet in spite of him, he had him playing well.
How would you? So give me so you go Rodgers, Brady, Cousins, Stafford. Who's your 5th?
That's a toss-up because I'm thinking Jameis Winston last year before he got hurt. I think he had better numbers than Murray. I think he had better numbers than Murray.
I go Murray. I would, and I think there's issues. I think
I have to go Murray. Yeah, I have to go Murray. But watch my. I'm thinking Winston's going to be better than what people thinking. Man,
you think even without Sean Payton there to assist him?
Yes, he's good, man. I mean, even though he went, 30 for 30 club, over 30 touchdowns.
It's not a 30 for 30 club you want to belong to.
Yeah, and over 30 interceptions in a year. But we got to think about also, his offensive line sucked back then too. Mm-hmm. They didn't have all the, the horses they have right now as far as offensive linemen. But if you look at him as a whole, he was still averaging 5,000 yards passing also. Murray will never get to 5,000 yards passing.
No, he probably runs a little bit too much. The biggest thing with Kyler Murray is, and his coach too, by the way, I'm not just putting this on Kyler Murray by any stretch. This is Cliff Kingsbury too. Where are you late in seasons, man? Like, what has happened to them? Not only have they fallen apart, they collapse. So that's something to really keep your eye on that team in general, because you're going to see significant changes. They fall apart again. Kingsbury's gone, number one. But, they're going to be in a tough spot because I think they may lock Murray up long term before the season even starts.
And plus you also got to put this in there. Murray gave up on his team the last 2 games. Yeah. D-Gun, you talk about this all the time.
He's a body language guy.
Right, right. He totally sucked the last 2 games.
And he's a finger point. He's like a death stare at a guy if something goes wrong. He's that guy.
Instead of looking at himself,
or
he'd be like, when you're the quarterback, you can't do that.
No.
You can't do that.
Wow. No. After listening to Bear's list, the number 5 on my list will make you guys go through the roof. Wow. Wow.
Let's hear it, man. Give us your 5.
My number 1 is Brady, because even though he's 45, and you're right, Rob, at some point he's going to reduce himself to the role of a mere mortal. But I just think this guy is a generational quarterback, and whether you like him or not, appreciate what we're seeing. A 45-year-old man playing a young man's game at a high level and winning Super Bowls or getting his team deep into the playoffs. Give him his credit. I hate Brady to blame the pay. We'll never see this again.
No.
I think we'll ever see this again. Number 2, Rodgers. I think Rodgers is one of the most accurate passers we've ever seen in the history of pro football. Okay. Rodgers has come up small in playoff games in recent years.
Mm-hmm.
He's racked up a lot of good numbers. He's a reigning MVP for a reason. I don't think I've ever seen a guy that can throw a football through the eye of a needle and be as accurate as he is. My number 3 is Stafford, because Stafford, his moniker before he got to the Rams was coming up small in Detroit. Well, look at the mess they gave him in Detroit. Once you put Stafford in a situation where he was surrounded by good players, his numbers improved, his accuracy improved. Sean McVay's creativity in his offense really helped Stafford get over the top. My number 4, Dak Prescott. Say what you want to say about Dak. Dak doesn't turn the ball over. Dak is not a great quarterback. Dak is a great, how do I want to put this? Dak
game
is
manager.
a great game manager.
You know what, though? Yes and no, Derek.
Manager.
He didn't manage it too well at the end of that playoff game. I put that on McCarthy, too, in a big way.
But Dak is not a turnover machine.
Yeah.
Now, my number 5. Now, before I give you my number 5, when we talked about this at the pre-show meeting at 11 a.m., I had this guy as my number 5. And then I looked at I immediately put it on Twitter. And everybody that has responded to my question of who are your top 5 QBs in the NFC put this guy at number 5. And that guy was Kyler Murray. But then I started looking at other stats and comparing numbers and stuff like that. And I got to take Murray off my list because Murray's shown me nothing, basically. I ended up with my number 5 is Jimmy Garoppolo. And the reason being, Jimmy Garoppolo is 33-14 as a starter. Now, granted, he hasn't started most of his career. He had to sit the bench a lot. He's 33-14 as a starter, 78 touchdowns, 71 touchdowns, 38 interceptions. He's had a career QB rating of 98.9. He's 4-2 in the playoffs. He's won a conference championship, and he's taken the team to the Super Bowl. And when I look at all the other quarterbacks up against him, none of the numbers compare. You know, if Jameis Winston, Kirk Cousins, none of those quarterbacks' numbers compare. So that, and I understand Jimmy Garoppolo got where he got on the strength of solid defense, solid 49er defenses. But Jimmy Garoppolo was a good manager of a game. Jimmy Garoppolo is not a quarterback that can win you a big game by himself. Mm-hmm. But look at what he can do when you surround him with the right players. He can take you a long way, something that Kirk Cousins has not been able to do. They've surrounded Kirk Cousins with a stout defense, good running backs, good wide receivers, and Kirk Cousins still can't get the job done. Jimmy Garoppolo can manage a game to get you to where you need to go. So that was my reason. What? No, I am, because number one, Cousins plays for Minnesota, and because my traitor brother is a huge Vikings fan, I will never give the Vikings the props they do.
Your brother's from Wisconsin, and he roots for the Vikings fan.
Yes, he married a girl. He married a girl from Minnesota. She got his nose all up in the air, and so he's a Vikings fan. He lives in Phoenix.
But also, Garoppolo know what Garoppolo does. He always whoops the Packers. He whoops their tail all the time. Beats out Rodgers. Every single time he plays them. You know, in the playoffs.
I'm not a huge Garoppolo fan. I do have to give him this to an extent. He was playing with that. What do you have? A broken thumb last year.
Broken thumb. Yep.
And you know, still won a playoff game. The Cowboys kind of gave it away, but you know, you got to give the dude a little bit of props. He played. He showed some toughness. I don't know what he is. I think he's
this guy gets a lot of criticism for what he doesn't do. But when you look at his numbers are not going to. He's not going to wow you in terms of 5,000 yards, 40 touchdown passes. But Garoppolo doesn't make a lot of mistakes with the ball. You know, he overthrows at times. He does get rattled at times, but I can't get off the fact that we're talking about stacking these quarterbacks up against the other quarterbacks in the NFC. And the NFC is far, far, far away inferior in terms of overall quarterback play compared to the AFC.
Yes.
When you look at what's in the NFC, it's almost pathetic in a lot of ways once you get past Brady, Rodgers, and Stafford.
Yeah, I mean, you could even make a case. There's a big fall off after the first two, like huge. And we'll get heavy into the AFC tomorrow, but the depth of talent at quarterback just in the AFC West,
it's atrocious. The NFC is atrocious.
Yeah, it's not even close. So
you know why, right? Because they were on the bottom. They were bottom feeders for so long on the AFC that they started, finally losing up. They started getting better players through the draft. And that's
and Wilson going from conference to conference.
Shifting
things in a big way too.
Yeah.
But where would you guys put Hurts? Not necessarily number, but like, is he even in a top?
Wow,
15,
10 in the NFC, 15 in the NFC.
Well, in the NFC, in the NFC, he's higher than that.
Well, think about it. Think about it. Detroit's quarterback situation is a mess. Jared Goff is a mess.
I had him at 8. I had him
Carolina's a mess. Atlanta, who's quarterback in Atlanta right now?
Mariota.
Marcus
Okay.
Mariota.
They drafted Ritter out of Cincinnati, the kid Ritter.
Good pick.
I like that pick a lot. Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. We have Dallas.
Daniel Jones.
Would you put Hurts in front of Wentz?
Yes.
Would you?
Yes.
Okay, so let's say Dallas.
I would.
Green Bay, Minnesota, Tampa Bay. I'll say Jameis Winston ahead of him. Rams, Cardinals, 49ers. So that would leave me with Jameis Winston at number 9 in the NFC.
You guys like Winston more than I do. I would probably put Hurts slightly. It's a lean.
He said Winston. We had Winston right around 7.
Yeah, I'd put Hurts right around 9. Number 9.
Yep. 8, 9.
Yeah, I think an easy way to do it is the process of elimination, right? So if you're looking at the NFC, you just run through the teams you would put them ahead of. So let me put it this way: were we all agreed he's ahead of Wentz or no?
That's to me that's debatable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Giants, we would agree, right?
Yes.
Okay. Bears.
Yes.
Right for right now, at least. Yes.
Yep.
Lions. Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Falcons.
Yes.
Panthers.
Yep.
Whatever Seattle's going to be.
Exactly.
So that's only 6, right? That's 6 teams you're putting him ahead of. Out of what is there?
But see,
8, 12, 16.
Washington is the push.
10. Washington's the tough one. That's a toss-up.
That's a tough one. See,
yeah.
Washington is the flavor of the day. Do you like Wentz? Do you like Hurts? So there, I can't put him ahead of Wentz. If you want to put him ahead of a Wentz, I'm not going to argue against that. That's your flavor of the day. I can't put him ahead of Wentz yet. I can't. I just can't right now.
I think Wentz, Winston, there's a couple that you could really argue here. Like you could really debate. But he could ascend over those pretty. Like I think by the end of this year, if things go the way Eagles fans are hoping, I think he gets himself in the 1, 2, 3 in about the 7 range, 6 range. He can get himself that. Like he's not getting ahead of Rodgers, Brady, Stafford, Murray, Prescott, Cousins probably. But I think he can get in that next level. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah. Depending on how things fall, I would not disagree with that. I give you props there.
Look, I think when you also look at some of those other guys, Aaron Rodgers lost a lot of weapons, but he had insane weapons. Brady's had really good weapons.
Right.
Stafford, we talked about the weapons that he had. Murray, when DeAndre Hopkins is on the field, clearly is unbelievable. Prescott's had really good receiving weapons. Yep. Cousins, we just talked about that too. So all of these guys had way better weapons than Hurts had last year. He had a good offensive line, good running attack, but with just a rookie and Devontae Smith on the outside and Dallas Goedert, it doesn't compare to these other guys.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I've already started trying to compile my list for the AFC. I've already changed, and this is today. Yeah. I've already changed my list 6 times.
It is hard.
AFC. I kid you not.
Hard, man. I did the same thing.
You can take 4 quarterbacks in the AFC West alone.
I know.
The
AFC's unreal.
So I can't wait until we debate the AFC tomorrow, because I'm sitting here going, and I'll throw this out there. You have to put into the equation Deshaun Watson if he plays. We don't know. The league may not suspend him. Correct. According to everything we've heard, there's not enough evidence to convict him. Two judges in Houston have declined to take the case. 2 courts in Houston have already declined to take this case. So we don't know.
Didn't you say another woman came?
Another one came forward yesterday.
There's two issues with him. One, well, first thing, he doesn't have to be convicted in a court of law. Goodell could still suspend him, just so people know that. It doesn't take that. But the problem the league has with suspending him is there's so much still, like civil suits could keep dropping left and right. And it's like, if you already give him 4 games and then 3 more women come out, you can't, what are you going to do? Like it's
almost like double jeopardy, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It almost feels that way. So I don't it's not inconceivable he starts the year as this, like he's not suspended to start the year. That's not out of the question. Cleveland's in a really weird spot, man.
You don't know. You really don't know what you're suspending him for. You're suspending for allegations.
Right.
Unless they're doing their own due diligence, you don't know what they're suspending them for.
Yeah.
I know. If there's smoke, there's damn well fire.
There's a ton of smoke around this.
Right. So he's not altogether just, innocent. You know what I'm saying? There is some truth. I mean, anytime you got 23, but like I said, it's the same. Why is the same lawyer? Why didn't the other lawyers take these cases up?
I also like the way Cleveland structured the deal. Like they set it up for something to be coming down, right? Let's be clear about that.
Yep.
But I just don't know. Honestly, I think they would rather know, hey, it's 4 games out of the chute. Okay, we know that. Let's get through those 4. To be kind of just like in week 6 and then all of a sudden a suspension could be handed down. That's a killer, man. Especially if you're off to a good start.
No question about it. And that could possibly well happen. But according to what I read recently, the NFL is close to wrapping up its investigation, which tells me that anything that he gets is going to be at the beginning of the season in terms of, how many games he's going to miss. And then, of course, they could come back and reduce that number later. Right. So, I said Deshaun Watson basically because if he's playing, Deshaun Watson is a very good quarterback, and you have to some way throw him in the mix there. Or consider it. You don't have to, but you have to consider putting him in the mix there.
Look, you take the off the and I'm not.
I don't know, Bear.
I'm not diminishing. No, I think you do, Derek. And I'm not diminishing when we have these discussions. Please understand, we're not diminishing the off the field stuff. If we're just talking about what kind of player he is, the guy's a phenomenal player.
He's question about it.
We don't condone anything. It's what's going on, and we're not saying good, bad, or different. Guilty, not guilty. What we're talking about right now is just what he does on the field. Yes,
no question. And he did a lot with a little in Texas. Like there was that last year that he played. Not last year, obviously he didn't play, but the season that he played before that team was a disaster.
Yes,
you remember everything that went down there, and he still put up pretty good numbers.
It was a mass exodus. All his offensive line left.
Right.
Remember the tackle went to Seattle. Yeah. Brandon Brooks came to Philly.
Yeah. And everything was blowing up with O'Brien. Like it just was, a mess.
You let your star receiver go, then you
let
your running back go.
Yeah, it's a joke.
It was crazy.
Yeah. So, all right, let's come back. I want to hit it. I want to throw something at you NBA wise that may relate to Doc Rivers and the Sixers. But in addition to that, we'll dig a little bit into the Morgan Freeman, because I've seen a lot of debate from our friends in the comment section on his best movies, but Morgan Freeman's best movies on his 84th birthday. We'll do that when we get back. A lot more in store. Don't go anywhere. Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network.